Welcome to my Views on News Wednesday's first video. Firstly, PM Abiy of Ethiopia is going to arrive in Sudan today, reportedly. What is the agenda of his visit? Secondly, a former leader of EPRDF who has been in prison for the last 4 years has been released. Who is he? Why was he put in prison? Thirdly, pamphlets are being distributed in Mekelle, Tigray's capital, by unknown people. What are these pamphlets about? And fourthly, Ethiopian Orthodox Church leaders are going to meet. The meeting will start from a prayer today. Meanwhile, we are seeing statements from different dioceses. Egyptian Coptic Church spoke as well, and from Horogodoro, from Valaga, a bishop issued a video message. And lastly, Eritrean ambassador to Kenya a few hours ago talked about TPLF. Asking the people that they should not worry or write about TPLF. While the another Eritrean representative diplomat wrote a detailed article about TPLF just 2 days ago. Firstly, PM Abiy is going to arrive in Sudan today, reportedly. In coming hours, he could be in Khartoum, where Abdul Fattah al-Burhan and PM Abiy will hold discussions. What is the agenda of this visit? There are three very important issues, unresolved issues, issues leading to friction between Ethiopia and Sudan. Firstly, dam, GERD, being constructed near completion in Benishangul Gumuz region of Ethiopia, close to Ethiopia-Sudan border. Sudan and Egypt, they have been raising questions about this dam. They tried to stop the second and third filling of the dam, but Ethiopia managed to complete the second and third fillings. Third filling last year and second filling in 2021. No agreement has been reached among the three countries so far about the dam operations. We saw mediation from African Union, from some African countries, but no agreement so far. So tensions are there. Secondly, Al-Fashaga on Ethiopia-Sudan border. The area was under the control of Ethiopian farmers, mostly Amhara farmers, for years. But when Tigray war broke out in November 2020, Sudan took advantage of the situation. Sudanese forces took control of around 95% of Al-Fashaga. Ethiopian farmers were expelled. Internationally, Al-Fashaga is seen as part of Sudan. But Ethiopia has its claims to citing some agreements of lease. Issue unresolved. Border demarcation could not be done of Ethiopia-Sudan border. Second issue. Third issue, and a very important one, is the presence of Ethiopian armed groups being hosted by Sudan. We know that Oromo Liberation Army, Gumuz fighters, Tigray fighters, they have been organizing themselves on Sudanese territory. They're being trained, armed by Sudanese forces. It's not a secret. Everyone knows about that. While a peace deal has been signed between TPLF and Ethiopian federal government, armed groups are still operating on Sudanese soil. Anti-Ethiopian government armed factions. So there are Kimmeth fighters too, Gumuz, Oromos, and Tigrayans too. So Ethiopia wants Sudan to ensure that Sudanese soil is not used against Ethiopia. There are several issues, and Ethiopia could play a role in the resolution of internal political conflict in Sudan in alliance with Eritrea, because Eritrea offered to mediate between Abdul Fattah al-Burhan and political factions which have been at loggerheads for more than a year. But al-Burhan rejected Eritrean offer of mediation. Both Ethiopia and Eritrea jointly can play their part in bringing peace and stability in Sudan. Let's see what happens. Try to update you in coming videos about this key visit. Secondly, viewers, a former leader of EPRDF, political alliance which ruled Ethiopia from 1991 till 2018, has been released from prison. Around 4 years ago, after PM Abiy took office, he was put in prison. His name is Bereket Simon. Bereket Simon is from Gondar, Amhara region, and he was representing Amhara people, you can say, in EPRDF led by TPLF. And he served as Minister of Communications with EPRDF. Then in 2018, we saw that PM Abiy came to power, and gradually EPRDF was dismantled. Prosperity Party came into being, and PM Abiy's government launched reforms. It took action against military and political leadership of EPRDF. Bereket Simon was arrested by Amhara forces in 2019, I think, and he was charged with corruption. Before that, I think he went to Saudi Arabia for medical treatment, which was supported by an Ethiopian businessman, Muhammad al-Amoudi. He returned, I think, and then he was arrested, charged with corruption, sentenced for 6 years, and now he is out of prison. Will he play a role in politics? That remains to be seen. Where will he be? Which party will he join, or will he remain out of politics? That remains to be seen. People are raising questions about Zamin Akasi. They are comparing Zamin Akasi and Bereket Simon. That Bereket Simon was a puppet of EPRDF, released from prison. Zamin Akasi, who is true representative of ethnic Amhara people, is still in prison. Bereket Simon is no more a threat to the government, I think. That is why he's out of prison. And Zamin Akasi has a following in the Amhara region. So federal regional government see him as a threat. That is why he's in prison. Thirdly, viewers, the pamphlets are being distributed in Mekelle, Tigray's capital. Last night, I reported that a demonstration is being planned for Sunday in Mekelle. The demonstration is obviously against regional government too. That is why pamphlets are being distributed, that people should assemble in Mekelle on a Sunday at 2 p.m. local time. Agenda of the protest is also being mentioned. It's mentioned on these pamphlets. The protest is going to be against current rulers, current government. The protesters want change in Tigray. They want resumption of banking. They want new leadership. They want martyrs to be remembered. There was a video on that a few hours ago. Agenda is also written on these pamphlets. Who is distributing these pamphlets? No one knows, actually. No party has officially announced the holding of this protest on Sunday in Mekelle. Will the regional government allow this protest to be held? That remains to be seen. That remains to be seen. But there are some forces in Mekelle, in Tigray, anti-TPLF, anti-regional government, which are trying to organize the people against the regional government. So interesting days ahead. We'll try to update you on Sunday. Pamphlet distribution has been confirmed. Fourthly, viewers, Ethiopian Orthodox Church is going to meet today. Meeting of archbishops will start, I think, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, but prayer will start today. 3-day long prayer will be held at Menbere Patriarch Saint Mary Monastery. Archbishops are arriving in Ethiopia from across the world in Addis Ababa, and tomorrow or day after tomorrow, meeting will start. Prayer will start today, reportedly. Meanwhile, we are seeing statements after Abune Saviros made some appointments, controversial appointments, mostly in the Oromo region of Ethiopia. Dioceses where these appointments have been made are rejecting, because obviously new bishops have been appointed. So the old ones are resisting the new appointees. They are not allowing them to take charge. And we are seeing statements from other dioceses as well, which are backing Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Tigray is silent, as I did a video on that last night. And people said, Sajid, you mentioned in your video that Tigray had appointed a patriarch. It never happened. Yes, technically you're right, it never happened. But the communication done by Tigray Orthodox leaders had the stamp of patriarch office. I think patriarchate was written on some letters issued by Tigray clergy a few months ago. So they never officially confirmed the appointment of a patriarch, but they had announced that Mekelle, I think, would be the seat of Holy Synod. So indirectly, they were saying they were splitting with Orthodox Church, but they never officially named anyone as a patriarch. And Abune Saviros has not announced to be a patriarch. It is being claimed that he is announcing a split. He is not claiming to be a patriarch. He is just making appointments to balance Oromo, Amhara, Oromo, non-Oromo proportion at Holy Synod. So let's see what happens in the meetings. Egyptian Coptic Church issued a statement today backing Ethiopian Orthodox Church Abune Mathias faction. Abune Mathias faction is a strong faction, no doubt about that. We are seeing statements from different dioceses in Oromia, in Deradeva, in Amhara, Kamisi, etc. They are supporting the Abune Mathias faction. But other faction has backing of some people in the government. And interesting to see if issue of language is raised by the 3 disgruntled archbishops or not. Because they might be calling for introduction of Afan Oromo language in Oromia. The people who are in Oromia, Oromos, they should be having access to Oromia language at churches. Church services should be rendered in Afan Oromo. That is what we have been hearing for years from some circles. It could be one of issues being raised. So let's see what happens at the meeting. This week is very crucial for the unity of the church. And it would be interesting to see the role of the government. I always say that Ethiopian government's role is suspicious. It will never stay aloof from this conflict. Why? Because church means authority. Church leaders have authority in Ethiopia. So government will support one or the other side. It might show as if it's neutral, but it will take sides openly or secretly. We are seeing statements from different dioceses, from different archbishops calling for unity, like one from Valaga, Horogodoro. His name is Abune Nathanael from Oromia. And he is calling for unity, backing Abune Mathias, the patriarch, well-respected man, appointed in Valaga. So let's see. It's the test of church leadership. Can the church leadership keep the church united? Or will it take a reactionary course which will lead to further splits? That remains to be seen. Lastly, viewers, Eritrean diplomats are taking different position when it comes to handling TPLF. Now, when TPLF is not heavily armed, it has surrendered heavy weapons, it could be, its government could be removed in Tigray region. We're seeing different statements. 2 days ago, Eritrean representative at UN, Sophia Tesfamariam, wrote an article for an American news source, and she said that TPLF terrorism was a threat to peace and stability in the region, that TPLF was not ready to put in place interim government in Tigray, it was regrouping, it was still a threat, and that if there are no punitive measures, TPLF will try to create instability again in the Horn of Africa. But yesterday, Eritrean ambassador to Kenya spoke. His name is Ambassador Bijine. Since the start of this war, we have been seeing statements from Mr. Bijine, and he said yesterday that there was no need to discuss, to write about, to worry about TPLF, because game over. Game is over. He said, let's stop talking about, let's stop discussing TPLF. So, one diplomat is writing a detailed article, so for the summarium. Another one says, let's stop writing about, let's stop discussing TPLF. What is Eritrean government's policy? I don't think that Eritrean government, Eritrean ambassadors can live without criticizing TPLF, like, and vice versa too. Tigray leadership as well. This atmosphere of bitterness, this atmosphere of hatred should be improved. How will it improve? Through engagement, political engagement, talks, face-to-face discussions. That is the only way. Otherwise, TPLF is definitely a weaker political force in Ethiopia now. Very weak. No doubt about that. Perhaps no more a threat to Eritrea. But you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. So that is why what is needed is creation of environment of mutual respect and reconciliation between Tigray and Eritrea. Otherwise, no matter what Ambassador Bean is saying, the two sides will keep on discussing each other. Thank you for watching.